Hey, this is Brian Whitaker at Whitts Ranch, and I'm going to do a video here on choosing some ropes and a little bit on some equipment. Right here, you're just going to see a simple hay bale with a, in this particular case, calf head stuck in the bale. Very inexpensive system, maybe $30, $35, $25 for the calf head and whatever your hay or your straw bale is. Just a couple of spikes into the bale. It's important that the bale is not like this, not flat, and then I see this all the time, and then people put that steer head or calf head in like that, but your rope hits the ground too much. You need it lifted off the ground just a bit and then put it in. It fits better this way. It's more like the steer has, the calf has a neck that way. And you can put it up in a high position like this starting out, that's fine. And then as you go, maybe you want to challenge yourself and put the head lower. Just don't get it too low where your tip of your rope always hits the ground. That's, like I said, very inexpensive. Just Google calf head or steer head. Just get the black plastic kind, or any kind you want. But there's some that are better than others. And there's the live version of it. When you're roping, don't look at the top of the head. Even though the head's there, you still look actually where the bale is, where the neck meets the body in the case of a live calf. It's just a visual, and you can see the two different kinds here. They're just, those spikes are screwed in there. You can unscrew them, like the steer head doesn't have any right now, so if you want to travel around with it. And there's the steer head version if you'd like to rope horns. There, that one says $25. That's a few years ago, but you know, and then some shipping costs. There's 3 or 4 major places that carry those. Here's some roping bags to hold a rope, or 2 or 3 or 5. These newer roping bags, they have the individual compartments. You see how my ropes are. I got the hondo facing up, and I've got twisty ties on them, and the hondo's not pushed because you can turn those hondos. That particular rope is a 4-strand. That means there's 4 different strands in that rope. Most ropes are 3. It's just kind of a preference, how it feels in your hand. You get the best video coverage here, kind of doing 2 things at once, but you can see the fibers that are in that rope. So that's a medium soft, is that the MS, and that's a 35-foot rope. That means that's a heel rope. The more twist they put in those fibers, the stiffer the rope. And the less twist, the softer. This is a head rope. This is a Mach 3 Plus. XS means extra soft. That's a 33-foot rope. That's a head rope. Starting out, that's a great rope. You could even get the extra soft, XXS. I didn't show, I'm just showing the different gloves here. I do like a blue streak roping glove. I think it's all cotton. There's a new kind I'm trying. I'm not the biggest fan. This is pretty worn out, but I really like those blue streaks. I use the simple white thin cotton ropes for years. They're okay, but the blue streak has more of a feel, a better feel, thinner feel. I'm just showing you can use some, that's kind of down the road, but that was some baby powder and a dally, rubber dally if you want to put rubber on your horn. Showing a different roping bag. This is a circular one. It's a nice bag too. It's got compartments. The next is a roping can. This is more for when you tie down rope or breakaway. I honestly can't answer the reason why they're in a shell, a can like this. It's just traditionally that's what I did when I roped calves. I put my roping stuff in here. I don't know why you couldn't do it the other way. Maybe back in the day when you used grass ropes that helped keep the moisture out. When I started rodeoing back in the day, I still remember calf ropers putting their ropes on top of their hood or in the hood of their truck to keep them warm and dry. The old grass ropes would get really affected by the weather. And I went over this before in another video, but there's my sawhorse for healing, 2x4s and some brackets to make some legs. Simple, inexpensive design. You can get something like this, a molded body. I only did this because it was on a garage sale, really cheap. Otherwise, for years, there's the calf head, the calf body. I talked about that. For years, I used the bail and the head. I'm going over this twice because I didn't have enough time to talk about it. These are fastback. That's the brand of ropes. This is a red line, I think. Just that's still my favorite is the Mach 3 Plus, the one I'm showing there. It's a great rope to start with. It's pretty forgiving. Later on, you could go to 4 strands. They have a different feel. It just depends on the weather sometimes. It really just depends on you. Just first get a rope and order one. Try not to get one out of a tack store that's probably been sitting there a while. Not that they really have a shelf life necessarily, but they might have a bunch of twists to them. Generally, you're just better off just Googling it. There's like 3 major places you can get these ropes. Maybe don't go to your local feed store and just get some rope they have laying around, because the body, the feel of it's so important. And these ropes are really engineered well now. They're so forgiving than what they used to be, even when I started. Like I said, Mach 3 Plus you can get. There's Cactus, there's Classic. Tried them all, and they're good ropes too. It's just a personal preference. They're on and on and on. There's Lone Star. There's all these new kinds of ropes too. I use a King rope for my ranch rope, 45 and 60 foot rope. It's got the metal Buck Branham and Hondo. You could probably try other different metal Hondos if you'd like. That setup is probably over $100 for the 40, maybe the 60 foot with the Buck. The Buck Branham and Hondo alone is $25. So you can kind of whatever route. These team roping ropes are great just to start out with. Or if you want to compete, they're fine, of course, for the team roping. But if you want to do some ranch stuff, I'd recommend a longer rope, just because then you can take longer shots. Don't use these calf ropes for ranch roping stuff. To me, they're way too short. They're like 20, 25, somewhere in there feet. I can't remember. The feel is about the same, but the length is real important. You don't want to feel like you're in a hurry to dally. You want to be able to throw a long ways if you need to. So you start with a 30 foot, 33 foot rope, and then once that feels good, build up from there. I know it can feel like a lot in your left hand at first, but get a good feel of these ropes. And like I said, keep them in rope bags, or keep them at least hung up somewhere that's not direct sunlight and not super hot. Cold isn't the worst in the world, but like a hot car in the summer is the worst place to keep a rope. And like I said, I'm just kind of going over this again because I needed some more time to talk about. I'm trying to remember the brand of this glove. It's a thinner leather glove is fine. I used to use baseball gloves when I first started, but they don't last like these cotton gloves. And just anything thin, not too thick. If it's real cold out and you need something a little thicker on your left hand, fine, but you still have coils, and that's important as well. Not to, you want to feel everything with your fingertips. And so it's just the way it is. You can't have too thick of gloves, so thinner cotton gloves. And if you can't find any of these things, drop me a line. I can help you out. Whatever bale of hay costs, whatever bale of straw costs, and then a dummy. I mean, that's a really cheap investment. Your ropes, don't use really worn out, especially when you first start out. Get yourself a new rope. If you can't really afford one, save up. If it's a little used, that's okay. But if you see a lot of black marks on your rope, that means they've been dallied on a lot with the rubber. Or if there's a lot of fraying to the rope, it really inhibits your success to roping. And there's no body to them. And then when you go, I used to do this, especially when I first was starting to practice a lot, trying to keep costs down. I would really overuse a rope, and then I would go to competition with a newer rope, and it would feel so different I got so used to those worn out ropes in a bad way, and they can be dangerous once you start dallying and all that, that I recommend you at least have a new rope around to kind of pick it up every once in a while. And when you start, use a newer rope. They're not like they used to. You don't have to break in a lot. But anyway, I hope that helps. Happy roping.